rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I got to throw that little perspective, the little sing-song thing. Anyway. Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday. It's going to be a long week for me. Anyway, so, the chicanery. Chicanery is a term that is used for the word trickery or tricks. And the Epstein chicanery is still going on because the left doesn't seem to want to let go of the fact that the victims have already stated, or at least the survivors have already stated multiple times, not only in court, but also on national television, that there is nothing to Donald Trump being there. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know, but I've got some news and information on that, and I've got some opinions on that, so we'll get to that in just a minute. But first, I haven't seen Ms. T in the chat yet. I hope she gets in here. Oh, there's Barb over on Facebook. Hi, Barb. She's on the phone in Ohio. Yeah. And yes, my pony is still okay. He's still the leader of the pack. He's still hanging out and doing what he's doing. So anyway, thank you for asking, by the way. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight is, of course, Ms. T of Texas. Ms. T of Texas, she is up for the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one, like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with Ms. T as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you, Ms. T, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge in your style, whether you also could just recite it, too. I mean, you don't have to perform it, per se, but perform or recite it. Either way. And take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. You can also share it. Apparently, if you use like a phone app or something, you can share, and that does the same thing. You can send it off to me. Send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. I'm still waiting for number 20. I only have 19. I need 20. Somebody give me 20. So all you got to do is just send it off to me. Do it. It's not that hard. You remember doing it. I mean, most of the people in this audience are, at least older as me. And I did it. So there you go. Anyway. Yeah, send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. Let's get with tonight's headline sponsor, which is the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 and as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers, unlike what Tim Kaine believes, the IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up. And while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's iotc.americanperspective.online, or you just want to purchase this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. Take a look at this wonderful thing. It is an 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, folks. It is bound by stitching all the way through the leather and the pages contained within. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if something does go wrong with this, if something does go wrong with this, then you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is buddy tested, buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. And my youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed the information contained within will allow you to study for your civics badge and scouts. Will also allow you to get your civics exam. I'll tell you a little bit about that in just a minute. Go to constitution.americanperspective.online to get yours today. And also don't forget to check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution's offerings, as they allow me to be a brand affiliate. And of course, I thank them for that. It's fantastic. Well, as I was talking and mentioned in the ad there, I like testing myself. I like testing myself against all kinds of different things. I test myself on my knowledge of American history and my knowledge of the Constitution, and I test myself on, a wide variety of things. So whenever I get a link in the email that's from a reputable company, because, of course, you got to watch out for spammers and things of that nature, well, I test myself. And so recently I received a link from Prager University that it was a link to, essentially, at least reportedly, a copy of the test that Oklahoma is giving to teachers who are coming from other states, specifically from California. And so I thought that I would go ahead, since they offered up the link, of course. I mean, come on. Yeah, let's just do this. I thought I would go ahead and take that link. And, yeah. Well, let me just tell you. Let me just tell you that the 37-question test, not that I'm bragging, but I only missed one. And technically, I only missed it because, well, I mean, I was allowed to go back and take a second shot at the questions, so that was kind of cool. I came in at 100%. I've got the certificate to prove it. I don't necessarily need to show it to you, but it is apparently an accredited thing about that. But anyway, and I also took a citizenship test just for fun. And that one was a short one, but it was a citizenship test. And of course, as expected, I cleared that one as well. I think you guys should go ahead and try and do that. You can search up the PragerU teacher questionnaire or something like that, or maybe if you don't have it, maybe I'll drop it in the chat. You know what I should do? I need to kick back up my newsletter again. I need to kick that thing back up and get it out to the people who have subscribed. It's been several weeks, if not months, from the last time that I sent out a newsletter. But anyway, which, by the way, you can sign up for the newsletter if you go to AmericanPerspective.online. It'll pop up after about a minute and a half or so, and there'll be a pop-up, and you can add your email to that list to get that. Anyway, so I just thought it was really fun. Like I said, I like taking those. I like trying to test my boundaries, seeing, what's going on, and I've got some new books coming that I'm going to be reading over the winter because, around here when it gets winter, I don't really do a lot of stuff outdoors. So yeah, and yes, Barb, they are looking to make the citizenship test much more difficult, as far as that goes. So, Barb, what is it that you wish there was a way to win what? You said win one, win what? I know I might be behind here. I have a feeling I know what it is, but just put it in the chat and let me know. But anyway, so, for those of you that don't know, I do occasionally make an appearance over at the Outlaw Dog stream. She streams live at 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay. I got you, Barb. So, occasionally I run over there, but apparently she does this highlight. And of course, Tuesday is the highlight for American Perspective for me. So of course I had to try and get over there, but you guys should check that out. She does current events and news and dog parks and videos and, all kinds of crazy stuff. So you should go and check it out. It's only about an hour. I think she runs it for about an hour, and you can head on over there and check it out. It's Outlaw Dogs on Rumble and does that. All right. Well, one of the things that's on everybody's mind, of course, is next year, 2026, next year's election. And there's, all kinds of questions and people saying, hey, how many and what are we doing? And we've got the redistricting happening. I got something on that here in a second. But the redistricting happening in a few places. I mean, Texas has already done theirs. California is looking for theirs to be on November. In November to do some sort of a special thing because they, want to violate their constitution. So, because they're Democrats, they don't really give a shit. But anyway, there was there's gerrymandering in full swing, obviously. But there is a New York Times piece that is trying to make the Democrats feel at least a little bit better about it. And this piece, which I can't show you necessarily because of the fact that the New York Times puts their crap behind a paywall often, but apparently this piece was saying that, hey, even if Gavin succeeds in his redistricting plan, his unconstitutional by the state constitution plan to get this, okay, what's going to end up happening is the Democrats would have to win the popular vote in 2026 by roughly 2.3 percentage points or more. And even if they do, that barely makes it to where they take the House of Representatives, according to newer analyses. Now, this is an interesting take, and what's even better is the fact that it's being basically told to them by the New York Times. So, yeah. In the New York Times piece, it says, despite plenty of gerrymandering, the winner of the popular vote was reasonably likely to win the most seats. But if the new maps are enacted in all of these states, Democrats will need to win the national popular vote by 2 or 3 percentage points to be favored to retake the House, according to projections based on recent congressional and presidential election results. A 2 to 3 point structural advantage for the GOP is meaningful, but pretty modest. With Democrats leading by 4 points in the national generic ballot polls today, that's probably because it's all their polling is Democrats, the party would still be favored to win next year's midterm election. The Republicans wouldn't stand much of any chance at all surviving a so-called wave election like in 2018 when the Democrats won the House popular vote by 7 points. And here's the thing, though. The Democrat Party is polling in the toilet. They really are. People are not happy with the Democrats at all. And so even with all of this gerrymandering and fighting against gerrymandering, there's even some question as to whether or not, because keep in mind, there are several Republican-led states that could legally gerrymander. Now, keep in mind, gerrymandering by itself is not illegal. It is a practice that is used by both parties. But the problem here is that the Democrat-led states have gerrymandered themselves into a place where it is relatively non-existent, or they have to overcome these hurdles, like California has to get this passed by the voters. And believe me, there are a lot of voters who are not happy about that. But there are a lot of states that are red that can legally gerrymander that are in Republican control. So regardless of whether, and keep in mind, California's redistricting plan is only going to potentially win, if it even goes through, potentially win something like 5 seats. Okay? That's it. Well, all that does is just cancel out the Texas ones. So now you have all these other Republican states, like Missouri, who has to redistrict, or like this state, which has been court ordered, just like Missouri, just like Texas, to remake its congressional district. Here in Utah. That's right. A judge said that the state legislature had no right to change the rules of a redistricting committee that Utah residents voted for in 2018. So they are being ordered by the court to redraw their congressional maps. See, and this is what happened in Texas. This is why the whole concept of California saying, hey, folks, and I've been trying to tell Californians this, hey, folks, this is a Republican-led, thing. They are doing this purposely. No, they're not. Texas has to redistrict. So does Missouri. So does now Utah, because the court system. See, the one for Texas, it was Biden. It was Biden and his DOJ that sued Texas, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And that's where the thing ended. They needed to change. And so they did. They did it based off of their, court-ordered requirement. And they took care of it. Now, granted, it cut out several Democrat districts, but hey, that's because the Democrats seem to want to, make these districts that string all the way across the state, like what you've seen in Illinois. This stuff, yeah. Anyway, so others have considered, so like Florida, Ohio, and now we have, like I said, Missouri and Utah are being pushed by the courts. We could have a serious thing about redistricting. So, yeah. Anyway, the left doesn't seem to understand they have opened up a huge, huge battle here. And I don't think they realize, because as Definitely Not Karen points out, and I point out too, Definitely Not Karen says Democrats never think about the what then when they act, or what's next. I always say, what happens next? What is the next thing that, and then what is what I'm talking about. So anyway, yeah. So there you go. All right. Well, let's take a little bit of a shift, because let's be honest here. I'm, 1 hour may or may not be enough for me to cover this, but we have the whole Epstein bullcrap back in the news, and back all over the socials. The leftists just don't want to give it away. So you recall, not too long ago, Rosie O'Donnell, she put out a tweet, or, well, a TikTok, I guess, from her haven in Ireland, where she was talking about how the identified transgender individual shot up that school in Minnesota, that actually it was a church in Minnesota, killed two children, injured 17 other people. And anyway, she posted that, and then of course had to retract it, because what she posted was essentially a lie. She lied and said that the shooter was a Trump supporter. Well, Donald Trump responded back to her, or responded to her, not like he really, he didn't. He and Rosie have been fighting for years. But anyway, he made a comment about a week and a half ago, where he said, Rosie's out of the country. Maybe I should renounce her citizenship. Now, let's be honest. This is Trump trolling. He can't renounce her citizenship. She is an American citizen. She was born here. She has parents here. Blah, blah, blah. So he can't do it. But the point is that he trolls. He trolls people a lot. He'll say shit just to get under the skin of other people. Well, that popped Rosie O'Donnell's pimple. And she ended up posting on I think it was on X, and she posted and was smearing Trump and she called him a serial pedophile racist. Yeah. Okay. Sure. There's like zero, and I do mean zero, evidence of this. Verifiable evidence. It's zero evidence of any of this. Well, Alan Dershowitz has decided to basically offer up his services. He's decided to offer up his services. Now, for those of you that don't know, Alan Dershowitz is a lawyer, and he was Epstein's lawyer, believe it or not, at one time. Alan Dershowitz has now offered to sue Rosie O'Donnell on behalf of Trump because of her comment about the serial pedophile rapist. Now, leftists, if you're within the sound of my voice and you're watching this, I am going to drop a truth bomb on you as of right now. And speaking of which, here. Oh, I haven't used this in a long time. Get ready, because here it is. Here comes the truth bomb. That's right, the bomb of truth. You can't call somebody a rapist when they have never been criminally convicted of rape. Nor can you call them a rapist because they have never been found civilly liable for the crime of rape. There you go. And you cannot, by the way, call somebody a pedophile without having proof of any of that. So there we go. Yeah, Cocoa to Whiskey. Did you like that sound effect? I'm gonna have to use that a little more often. I got a few of them in here that it's been a while since I've used them. So so there we go. That one is actually. So I'm gonna start calling that the truth bomb. Because we're gonna start dropping truth on this show, on this program. But there's the truth, folks, and I keep telling people this. They keep talking. Anybody on the left keeps saying. Copying over and over and over again. Oh, Trump is a rapist. Trump is a rapist. No, he is not. He is not a rapist. He has never been found criminally, in a criminal court. He's never been convicted of it. He's not even been found it in a civil court. So no matter what you guys sit there and jabber on about, no, he is not a rapist. And he actually won, believe it or not, he won a suit. A defamation suit against George Stephanopoulos. But George Stephanopoulos and CBS over that. And he's being paid by them because George Snuffleupagus decided to call him a rapist, and he is not. He is not a rapist. Cannot call somebody that. Well, anyway. What's fun about Alan Dershowitz, though, is that he also continued, and he says, she could be sued, he said. There was malice there. And then he offers up, I would be happy to help sue Rosie O'Donnell. She's a despicable liar, a defamer of people, and she shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. He added, she's now moved out of the country. She hates America. She hates American politicians, and she ought to be sued. Then he goes, I hope she is sued, and I volunteer pro bono to help out anybody who wants to sue Rosie O'Donnell on behalf of the president. So there we go. There we go. Now, Dershowitz, of course, was not only Epstein's attorney, but he also successfully sued to clear his own name in the Epstein scandal. For 7 years, he lived under the dark cloud of a false accusation, and the accusation was finally retracted in 2022. And there we go. Dershowitz was one of the few men, this is a colleague of the writer, the guy's name is Joe Pollack, pointed out at the time, Dershowitz was one of the few men accused of sexual misconduct during the Me Too era who defended himself vigorously, both in court and in the media. Now, what's funny is that Dershowitz is actually, essentially saying, and has said multiple times, I was Epstein's lawyer. I would have known, and I am aware of the interaction between Trump and Epstein. And even he has said there is nothing on Trump. But hey, let's just sit here and let's just talk about this. Epstein says there's nothing on Trump. Ghislaine Maxwell says there's nothing on Trump. The victims and survivors that NBC just did the interview on, they tried to trap the victims in a lie. Nope. They all said they never seen or heard of anything untoward on Trump's behalf. How many times is it going to take these people, these leftist lunatic morons, to understand Trump is not on the bad side in the Epstein files? Okay? Trump is not on the bad side here, people. Trump actually cut off all ties with Epstein once he was charged in Florida. Trump volunteered to go and testify for the prosecutor in Florida. How many times have we got to put this out there? How many times have we got to say, we essentially have to say, you guys are barking up the wrong damn freaking tree? Okay? Wow, my closed captioning, this side, my closed captioning said freaking. It wasn't quite what I said, but that's okay. Anyway. Well, obviously, there was a new trove of Epstein documents that has been released. came from the House. Yahoo News has a piece about this, 5 takeaways from the Trump Epstein. And the first one, obviously, has to deal with this birthday wishes or whatever. I'll get to that in just a minute. But the second thing that they are talking about is there's another document in there that is kind of goes along with that birthday thing. There was also apparently a letter that was a photo of Epstein holding an oversized novelty check for $22,500 that was made to look like a payment from Trump to Epstein. The thing says, Jeffrey showing early talents with money plus women, sells fully depreciated, and then a person's name is supposedly redacted, to Donald Trump for $22,500. Even though I handled the deal, I didn't bet any money on the girl. Well, here's the thing. You don't know. You got to remember, Epstein was this playboy. And he loved to show off photos of him with rich and powerful people. He had a painting commissioned to make it look like Bill Clinton in a blue dress with red heels. Now, whether or not Bill actually wore that blue dress or wore the heels and actually posed for the damn thing, who knows? And who cares? The fact of the matter is, this guy obviously had a penchant for creating things that were, shall we say, questionable in their origins. Not to mention the fact that Epstein himself was a known liar. Ghislaine Maxwell herself was a known liar. So all of this going on, and I'm sorry I lost my overhead light for some reason, but anyway. So all of this stuff going on, okay, and the left is sitting here like, oh my gosh, this is such a big deal. It's not. It's not. It really isn't. Now, here, let me show you the photo of the supposed drawing. The supposed drawing of the well wishes. So I'm just going to point a couple things out. First of all, let's be honest, this really is a sucky drawing. If Donald Trump actually drew this, believe me, this is not what I would consider to be like the female form or anything else. I mean, seriously, that's just absolutely horrible. But anyway, here, down here toward the bottom, you can see there's this signature. And many people have tried to look at this signature and attempt to, evaluate it. Some say that, yeah, this is Donald Trump's handwriting, and there's memes and pictures of, going around, and here's Donald Trump's, handwriting, here's his signature back then, and blah, blah, blah. That just proves it. Well, I'm just going to point something out to you. Epstein had an entire painting commissioned to put Bill Clinton in a blue dress with red heels. Do you honestly believe that it's going to be a step away from Epstein's character to have something created that's from supposedly Donald Trump that's fake? I mean, keep in mind, Ghislaine Maxwell put this book together. She admitted to putting it back together for all of this. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to point out to you that I'm seriously questioning the veracity of this thing because, and not just not just the name of, the signature of Donald Trump, but there's even more to it. In fact, the Daily Wire took the words, the writing style, and sent it through 3 separate AI programs in order to check and validate it against Donald Trump's actual writing style. And I'll get to that in just a second. Let me tell you about Rumble. I love Rumble. Rumble is great. If you haven't already, make sure you download the Rumble app. It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected to the content that you want. Once you've got it, search for my channel and hit that green follow button. That way you'll get a notification every time that I go live. No missed shows, no extra steps at all. You can grab it right now by using the link in the description. Right? Whoops, wrong way. It's right over there. I got to remember which way these things go. And pinned in the live chat. Download it to your phone and you're ready to go. And if you prefer to watching me on the big screen, you really want my face that big in your living room, go ahead. Rumble is available on all the major streaming devices and smart TVs. Just search for Rumble, that's RUMBLE, and follow this channel and any other channel that you want, and be part of the action. That's Rumble, RUMBLE, to search in your smart TV to find the app, to add it to the app, and get me on your big screen. Anyway, go ahead, download the Rumble app, put it on your television show. Never miss another program of your content, all the content that you want, and be part of the action. Download everything, download the app, get it all. Be a part of Rumble today. All right. So, the Epstein letter was evaluated by Daily Wire. They took the verbiage, the sentence structure, the words, and put it into 3 separate AI in order to analyze the language, the linguistics of it. All 3 came back with the exact same answer. It was unanimous. There was an extremely low probability that the 2003 birthday letter, which I just showed you, to Jeffrey Epstein, that included that sketch, which was a horrible sketch, was authored by President Donald Trump. And all 3 AIs were saying that profound and pervasive derivations from Trump's documented writing patterns spanning over 4 decades of public and private correspondence that was available to these things. One AI report concluded the stylistic gulf between the note and Trump's known communication patterns is not merely a matter of slight variation. It represents fundamental and pervasive mismatch across nearly every linguistic metric. So I float this because not very many people are actually taking this tact, and so I'm going to float this. Assuming that the painting of Bill Clinton was not actually a painting of Bill Clinton sitting with blue dress and red heels, which obviously, I mean, it's a caricature. So it was commissioned for that. What would stop Epstein from creating this book on his, or better yet, Ghislaine Maxwell, on Epstein's 50th birthday, from creating this book that has fake stuff in it, like this letter from Donald Trump? So obviously the Dems are just like going nuts over this. They think that this just proves everything. Well, what's even worse though, folks, is that this doesn't implicate anything. Let's be completely honest. We know Donald Trump had a relationship with Epstein back in 2003. We know that Donald Trump has admittedly made lewd and sometimes crude comments towards women or in reference to women. So, what does this letter prove? It proves literally nothing. Okay? Absolutely nothing. He had a relationship with Epstein. He flew on Epstein's plane, for gosh sakes. Okay? And it doesn't implicate him in any kind of criminal capacity at all. Nothing. So again, it's just... Now, to top all of this off, by the way, is the fact that Trump is still going forward with the trial against the Wall Street Journal against this. Trump's legal team is going to continue to aggressively go after the Wall Street Journal over this, the federal libel lawsuit. So, yeah. Anyway, now there have been some handwriting experts reportedly that have looked at Donald Trump's signature and say, yeah, it's a close likeness, but it's fake. I can think of several people, just a good forger could probably do that without too much difficulty, I would imagine. But anyway, as I was saying, there are three of them, three AIs. One of them was the Claude 4.0 Opus Thinking. One was Perplexity Sonar, and the other was Gemini 2.5 Pro. Those are all three AI models. Now, the Claude Opus 4.0 model used 257 different sources, including Trump's writings from 1980s all the way through 2025. That one concluded the same thing. The letter exhibits multiple linguistic anomalies that diverge not just slightly, but sharply from Trump's established communication patterns. So, yeah. It states, a comprehensive forensic analysis comparing the letter's distinctive features against Trump's documented idealect from 1980 to 2025 raises substantial questions about its authenticity. The other ones, Google's Gemini Pro used 127 different sources, determined a very low probability that Donald Trump was the actual author of the text of the question document. And, of course, the Perplexity, only using 84 sources, employed forensic linguistics techniques related to authorship analysis, linguistic fingerprinting, and stylometric methods. Also said, while forensic linguistic analysis cannot provide absolute certainty, the cumulative evidence indicates the letter was likely not authored by Donald Trump. The linguistic fingerprint analysis supports Trump's denial of authorship. So, yeah. Yep. So, anyway, there's just no way this thing is actually him. Now, of course, the left is like all, wetting themselves, literally, over this idea that the Epstein estate is going to start giving documents to the House Oversight Panel. Okay. Still not doing anything here. So these documents were subpoenaed from the estate, and they are going to start handing them over, apparently, in compliance with that subpoena. So, yeah. Anyway. They're also, by the way, his own lawyer, after Dershowitz, had also said that there is no actual Epstein list. He said that in committee testimony. There is no actual Epstein list. So, again, there you go. All right. Well, let me take a drink real quick here. So, For those of you that recall this horrific act in Charlottesville, where the black man, unstable, 12 to 14 times a criminal black man, killed the Ukrainian refugee by stabbing her while she was on the train coming home from work. Some of you had questioned, because he was just released by a judge, and some of you had questioned whether or not that judge could be held liable for her death. Now, I would imagine in a civil case they could try. And I don't know how far it would actually go, because unfortunately judges do tend to have immunity for their bench actions. But all of that being said, there's a gentleman in Congress who has decided that, you know what, that's wrong. So, according to Breitbart here, Randy Fine reveals a plan to hold judges accountable for violent repeat offenders. He's a representative from Florida, a Republican, and he's introducing legislation to hold judges accountable when violent repeat offenders they release commit new crimes. And this is all spurred by the, I said Charlottesville, but it's actually Charlotte. My bad. The brutal murder of the Ukrainian refugee that occurred on a rail system in Charlotte, North Carolina. He said, and he posted this on X, he says, "I'm going to introduce legislation to hold judges accountable when violent repeat offenders they release commit new crimes. It's easy to release criminals when you're protected by an armed bailiff at all times. The rest of us aren't so lucky. Those 12-plus judges that released the killer should have their day in court, too." So, yeah. And his remarks, of course, followed it. And according to the New York Post, this individual has a rap sheet including felony larceny, communicating threats, robbery with a dangerous weapon. The latter charge actually landed him in jail for 5 years. Court records show that Charlotte police had arrested this individual before, most recently for reportedly misusing 911. So, yeah. So there we go. And there's the image. There's an image right before she got attacked. So, and of course the media has been completely silent on this whole thing. Or Donald Trump actually even mentioned it. So, yeah. All right. I actually hope he gets that through. I don't know if it will stand up in court, but I would hope that he would get that through, if he actually makes it. So, Barb over on Facebook mentions that apparently the judge who let him go was on the board of mental health rehab center that he was released from, or sent to. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, there you go. All right, well, Trump has officially launched what he's calling Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago. So, which makes sense because Midway is, Chicago. Chicago is, well, it's known as the Windy City, but also has a thing in Midway. So anyway, Trump, the Department of Homeland Security launched their immigration enforcement action in Chicago. The effort is in honor of Catherine Abraham and Chloe Polzin, the 20 and 21-year-olds from Deerfield, Illinois, who were killed in a drunk driving accident caused by an illegal alien. This Homeland Security posted this to X, said, this ICE operation will target the criminal illegal aliens who flocked to Chicago and Illinois because they knew Governor Pritzker and his sanctuary policies would protect them and allow them to roam free on American streets. President Trump and Secretary Noem stand with the victims of illegal alien crime, while Governor Pritzker stands with criminal illegal aliens. And this came on the tail end of the Supreme Court releasing or removing the stay in L.A. to go and chase down these illegal aliens based on their language and where, of course, they work. So, yeah. So anyway, the two girls that this is named for, they were at a traffic signal with three other passengers when a red Mitsubishi Outlander crashed into them while traveling at about 80 miles an hour on January 19th in 2025. The driver is alleged to be a 29-year-old illegal alien from Guatemala. He was using fake Mexican identification documents. He was charged with hit and run, driving under the influence, and other immigration-related crimes. So, yeah. And Chicago, of course, is a den of a den of villainy, sort of like Mos Eisley in Star Wars. Anyway, yeah, I'd like to see, I really would like to see them try and stop this, because again, immigration constitutionally is 100% a right of the federal government to enforce. So there you go. Also too, Chicago is one of the handful of so-called sanctuary cities in the U.S. where local elected leaders have forbidden law enforcement in the city from cooperating with federal officials. By the way, violating Title 18, United States Code, Section 111. But anyway, Chicago apparently canceled Mexican Independence Day events over concerns of ICE enforcement. So, yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good one. All right. Well, if you think that the federal government has any business, which if you listen to this show and you listen to me, you'll know that the federal government has very specific items that they can spend our taxpayer money on. Well, apparently, the 2026 federal budget, according to Red State, has funding for electric buses in California. What the F? Really? Nearly 16 million taxpayer dollars are set aside for zero-emission buses and charging stations across the country in one of Congress's proposed annual government funding bills. The House's proposed Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Related Agencies Appropriations Act for fiscal year of 2026 is just one of the 12 annual appropriations bills providing money for federal agencies. Now, this one in particular has a total price tag of $89.9 billion. The proposed legislation includes more than a dozen earmarks totaling at least $15.8 billion for electric buses, hydrogen buses, and electric bus charging stations or battery systems across, get this, only 4 states. That's only 4 states are getting this. Folks, seriously, somebody somewhere, I'm advocating somebody somewhere who has like a ton of money and a ton of time, or can take their ton of money and get somebody with a ton of time. Sue the federal government over the 10th Amendment, please. Please. How many times have I pointed out on this program that the federal government can only issue laws and use taxpayer money for the items under Article 1, Section 8. And that's backed up, by the way, by the Federalist number 14, written by the author, or one of the authors, of the Constitution of the United States, that basically says there is a small, limited, enumerated number of items that the federal government is allowed to do. I've showed that to you on this program. There is absolutely zero reason as to why federal government taxpayer money should be going toward state boondoggles in the green sector. There's absolutely none. Now, according to this, California would receive the lion's share of that money, requested for multiple projects by Democratic U.S. Representatives Peter Aguilar, Judy Chu, Linda Sanchez, Mark DeSaliner, Jimmy Gomez, Sidney Kamagler-Dove, Ted Lieu, Maxine Waters, Nanette Berrigan, and Amy Barra. Why does this not surprise me? It's not just California. Apparently, Ohio, Massachusetts, and Washington would also receive these funds. In Ohio, the Toledo Area Regional Transit Authority would collect $2.45 million to transition to zero emissions buses, plus a new garage. Steamship Authority Shuttle in Massachusetts would receive $2 million to replace its gas-powered buses with electric. And surprise of no surprise, Community Transit here in my home state of communist Washington would get $2 million to purchase battery electric buses. Yeah. This is... I can't even, I'm sorry, I just can't. Elon Musk, if you happen to listen to this program at any given point in time, please put forth some money so that we can sue the federal government over the 10th Amendment on almost all of this stuff. Seriously. I'm being completely serious here. Anyway. Well, I don't know if anybody caught this. This has kind of been silent for most of the day because of all of the Epstein crap. But apparently, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics has gone back and revised last year's numbers. Basically going from March of 2025 all the way back to March of 2024. This revision has pulled out 911,000 jobs from the last 12 months. And you wonder why Trump fired the BLS commissioner, Erica McIntarfer. Yeah. You wonder why? Well, that would be why. Because she padded the numbers for the Democrats and gave us weak numbers in terms of Trump's term. I mean, I just want straight numbers. I just want real numbers. I want actual numbers. Numbers that are, not manipulated. Let's just put it that way. This is ridiculous. But the left, of course, jumped on all of this and was like, oh, no, you can't. I mean, you shouldn't be firing her. You can't fire her because it's numbers. It's numbers. She didn't manipulate the numbers, really. Yeah, but the fresh data that comes out of the BLS tells us that there were 911,000 fewer jobs than what the Biden administration, for the most part, over that period, reported. Yeah. Okay. And you wonder why he fired her. Well, that would be the reason. Anyway, all right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. Once you are signed up and signed in, make sure you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up or thumbs down across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night for Whiskey Wednesday. I've got a fantastic second part Pet of the Week for you tomorrow night, so show on up and hang out for the entire show, because that's the last thing that I end with is the Pet of the Week. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.